Hello everyone and welcome back to the Pentium 4 Recapathon, where we will be trying to revive Pentium 4 based systems with the power of new capacitors. This time we have this board, which is a Dell board from a Dimension E510. It doesn't work right now, it just gives a solid amber light due to these failed capacitors, at least I think so. So we're going to be replacing them. And then we'll see if the system works. In the last two episodes, we failed to finish with a working system. And you know what? That's okay. We all have failures, and I failed to fix those systems. And hopefully today, we will have some successes. So, I'm going to start with these caps right here. And as I did in the previous parts, I'll start with showing how I'm doing one, and then I will start a time lapse to do the rest. So I'm going to start with this guy. I start by doing some extra tinning. This board is not melting very well. I wonder if my iron just hasn't heated all the way up. I've left it on for a while. Nevertheless, time for the hacko. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I expected that. This thing is not clean. It's got metal stuck in it, and I can't get it out. Let's try to clear it again with the little clearing rod. Now let's see if it's working any better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not yet. I think this thing needs the canister cleared. Alright, let's give this another go. I've cleaned the soldering pump out now. And if this soldering iron has had plenty of time to heat up now, so if this better... Still being stubborn, I hope this board isn't going to be a pain. I can already see myself thinking back to this moment where I thought it would be easy if it turns out to be really difficult. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got that hole clear. Alright. Let's get the other one. My solder is not easily melting on this board. It doesn't feel natural. Sucking away the heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got it! Yes! Well, I pretty much got it. Now, it's not just falling out. But if I start rocking it back and forth, yep. The one in the circular hole is out, and the one in the square hole is nearly out. So I'm just going to keep rocking back and forth. Both are moving now. The square peg still has a tiny bit of solder on the leg itself, and it's getting stuck. So it's loose, but it's not free. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resolder the square one, just so that I can vacuum pump. Use the vacuum pump again. And then we'll get this cap out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh! 10. Oh! Get an instant replay of that. Oh my god. It's gone! It's gone! I don't know where it went. Oh my god. It just vanished into the abyss. Oh my god. Alright. We'll find it later. That cap is out. I guess you could say the cap is out of the board. Ha ha ha. Alright, let's get the rest of these. Caps are in, and I've hit a slight snafu here. You see, they're just a bit bigger. There's one that's not been replaced for reference. That's a different value and they haven't leaked, but it's the same size. I managed to get them all to fit. There's those, and the 2x the RAM slots. And now all of these that are bulging have been replaced, I believe. Was every single 1500 microfarad bulging? No, there's one that wasn't, so if this computer doesn't work, I'll know where to go next. But, oh yeah, there are a bunch more 1500s. These actually are all 1500s, and they're not bulging, so if this thing doesn't work, then I'll try replacing all those as a last-ditch effort, and, yeah. But I do hope it works. It would kind of suck if it didn't work after all this work. Haha, work. So I'm gonna go get it in a test benchy sort of situation, and then, we'll be ready. Alright, I got heatsink. Didn't even put new thermal paste on yet. I'm only going to have it on for a few seconds if it turns on. I've got the power button board and the power supply. I've also got a monitor, so if this thing's going to work, well, it's going to work. So, let's see if it's going to work. I've got a video cable plugged in, so in power save mode. It's time. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna be dead? It's gonna do one of three things. Option A, it turns on and posts and works. Option B, it does the amber light, solid amber light of death it did before. Or option 3, a different issue. I'll hope for either the first one or the last one, and God, please not the middle one. Let's see. Ooh. Uh-oh. Ooh! That's good. Alright, I'm assuming these are diagnostic LEDs. I'm going to look up the errors. I'm hoping for something either related to memory or not having a video card. Because this thing had a video card in it, I'm running it off the internal port. I don't know, this CPU might not have integrated graphics. So I'm going to look that error up on my iPad. That is good. That gives me hope. A possible graphics card failure has occurred! Yes! That is good! Now where's this thing's GPU? It's somewhere. It's somewhere. I have it. Back in the back, I think it is. Is this it? I think so. Boom. Unknown ATI video card, I forget what this is. Who cares? I don't know if this card works, but I do have a spare, also a completely untested ATI card, so we'll see, I guess. Let's try this again. This is the first time I've ever gotten anything other than the amber light out of the system. Okay. Is this video card bad? Alright, moving to the spare video card. We actually have two spares. One is a probable replacement, which is this guy. And one is an improbable replacement, which is this guy. This guy's DVI only, came out of a Mac Pro, and came from a tech lot where most of the other stuff in it was dead. So I doubt this thing's gonna work, but hopefully we won't have to go to that one. Because hopefully this ATI card's just bad. It's been jostled around a lot since it was originally taken out of the system. So let's swap over to our spare, which is hopefully in much better shape. I don't know if it's matching, like if it'll work in this slot, who knows, but we're just gonna assume it will. The fan works at least. Rats. Whoa, ho, ho. It's possible I've been reading things wrong the entire time. If I was reading it backwards, then that error means bad RAM. So, naturally, I'm going to try different RAM, and once again try the integrated graphics. And start her up. Ooh. Oh yeah! Haha! Victory! Victory! Alright, we have a posting system now. I'll take it. I'm gonna finish reassembling everything now. I'm gonna throw a hard drive in here. I'm gonna install XP, or should I do XP or should I do Vista? Ooh, questions. I could figure all that out later. For now, we have a system that works. Yay! Alright, I have fully reassembled the computer, which is sitting just in the corner of the shot here. And the specs I finished off with, I did some testing. The original RAM works, I just had it in the wrong slots. So each one of those sticks was 1 gig, it didn't say on the label, meaning I have a total of 2.5 gigs now with those two 256 sticks I found. Also, this system now has a 200 gigabyte Seagate hard drive, and it's healthy, I believe. It's a bit slow on Windows 10. I've seen it run Windows 10 before. It's garbage for that, but this is going to be an XP Media Center Edition system, because that's what the product key sticker says, and so it's what I'm going to be putting on here. And yeah, this thing should be really fast, but technically this doesn't count for the Pentium 4 Recapathon, because it's a Pentium D. What kind of garbage is this? Well, it says Pentium 4 on the front, so it counts. I'm too late now. I never saw it post, so I could never check the BIOS to see what it was, and I never looked at the CPU die. It said Pentium 4 on the front. It's a pre-built, so I wouldn't have assumed there was any upgrades. And dang it, it says Pentium 4. I've been fooled, I've been had, but all jokes aside, I am very pleased with the fact that this is a Pentium D, because I don't have any Pentium Ds. So, yeah. The situation for drives on this thing, you can barely see it, but basically, is this going to try to boot Windows 10? Alert, previous fan failure. Oh boy. That's not good, but so basically the power button on this thing doesn't work, and that's because the way it works, it has a little plastic lever that connects to a button on this board, and it's broken, so this doesn't click. So the way around that is leave it unplugged, leave the CMOS battery unplugged, so that each time it starts, it will just automatically boot up, which should avoid that issue. By previous fan failure, does it mean because was there supposed to be like a fan that was installed around back? I'm not sure. I don't remember there being one. I didn't see any headers from a quick glance. So, anyways, the drive situation is also a bit dire. I don't have many good functioning optical drives, So I'm stuck with drive A is a DVD drive. I've marked this drive as marginal. Apparently it was flaky last time I used it. I think I remember it was just not doing a great job setting up an XP install. But I don't know. It's the best I have, and I need a DVD drive. So, got that. And then drive 2 is a CD-ROM. It ejects. Other than that, I have no idea if it works. I didn't have any labels on it. I have a card reader. This does have a floppy header, but I don't need a floppy drive in here. And, yeah, front I/O. Looks nice. Big airflow in there. It's nice. So, still though, what Intel engineer thought it was a good idea to put 2 Prescott cores on one chip? Like, seriously, I can't wait to open this in CPU-Z. Anyways, now I gotta dig out my Media Center Edition install CDs. And yes, they are CDs, so if that drive turns out not to work, I can just use the secondary drive. And now, I would say that we are completely up and running. So this thing is completely set up in my little Pentium 4 corner here. I guess this is a Pentium D and Pentium 4 corner now, so I don't know. But the system works, and you can see XP Service Pack 3. I've got the unofficial Service Pack 4 update applied to get it patched even further, Media Center Edition, and I've got it activated. I activated it with the self-service portal for mobile. If we take a look in CPU-Z, which I have loaded on here, we can see the detailed specs. Pentium D 945, Presler architecture, socket 775, core speed 3391.30 megahertz, so about 3.4, and main board's a Dell 0HJ054, a DDR2 RAM, 2.5 gigs. That graphics device, it has a tough time figuring it out, but I do have the driver installed. It's a ATI Radeon X600, 256 megs of VRAM. Not a great card, I'm sure, but it does the job, I guess. And yep, got some basic stuff on here. Got my driver installed for my USB Wi-Fi key, which is plugged in the back, and that allows me to get this thing online. And problems, though. It's not perfectly working. We've got a few issues. Issue number 1, if I turn down to the machine, the previous owners busted one of the USB ports. The pins are horribly ripped and torn. Well, they're just bent, and it's been destroyed. It's like someone tried to force it in the wrong way. Like the little plastic piece in the port that prevents you from putting a stick in the wrong way is straight up missing. Who did this to you? The left port I presume works, but this front I/O panel, even though I screwed it in, it just pushes back when you try to plug something in, so I can't get anything in. But it's fine, I can use the back ports. The memory cards appear to work fine. I can do a quick test. I've got a smart media card here, 16 whole megabytes. Light came on, and it shows up. This just has a few pictures from a digital camera on it. So, yeah, that works. Doop. Now let's put it in this one. And the flaky DVD drive is probably still flaky. The CD drive obviously works. Another issue is the power button's broken. I think I already said that. So I have to just leave the CMOS battery unplugged so that it'll auto boot when I plug it in, which is fine, and it works as a bit of a fix. I'll just have to set the time every time I start it, and it'll complain the floppy disk seek failure, because the BIOS, when it resets, thinks it has a floppy drive when it doesn't. This has a floppy header but no drive, so it'll try to seek and fail. There's no point in disabling it on the BIOS, because next time it comes unplugged, it'll just re-enable automatically. Luckily, the other config for the other drives works fine. Also, the sound doesn't work. I have the Audigy 2 in here. I've never confirmed that that card is working, so I guess it could be bad. But I'm not sure if the integrated audio on this works. I can do more messing around, but I have the driver installed, I have speakers plugged in, and I just get no sound, which is unfortunate. And then, finally, the weirdest issue of all is VGA out doesn't work properly. You will plug it in, it'll boot to the BIOS, it'll start the Windows XP loading screen, and then as soon as it gets to a part where it changes to the graphical, to the login screen, the monitor will just start flickering in and out. It'll just suddenly, it'll go into power, it'll say, act like it's not receiving a signal anymore and go into power save mode. And then it'll flash back for a split second, and then for maybe a quarter of a second you can see some garbled picture, and then it just goes to black, and then about a second later the monitor goes back to power save mode, and then that cycle just repeats infinitely. This is independent of the graphics card. I tested with the spare card, and this card works, I guess, since I plugged it in, but it's the same exact issue. This might actually be another X600, I'm not sure. It looks pretty similar. But this one has a loud fan and the other one doesn't, so I'm going with the one that doesn't have a fan. This is also a Dell card though, because it says revision A01, which is only a thing Dell does. But DVI out works fine, and it's higher quality anyway. I might as well just use DVI out. I'm guessing that it might be an issue related to the other capacitors on the board. There were, I believe, 4 more of that 1500 microfarad 6.3 volt value that weren't bulging. And another thing to back up that those might be flaky or marginal is the BIOS screen takes just a couple seconds longer than it should. It should usually be instant. That's how it is on the Dimension 2400 I recapped. But on this one it takes maybe 3 or 4 seconds, which in my experience is a sign that the caps are weak. So I can always go in and replace those if they start bulging up, but if it works, I'm going to leave it as is because it's good enough. And really, that's it. Other than that, the system works fine. The BIOS says alert previous fan failure when it starts up, so I don't know why that is. The fan is clearly working. I can feel it blowing air, and it hasn't overheated, so I'm just going to ignore that until it becomes a problem. And yeah, working mostly Dimension E510, which is nice. I know at least the FireWire port on the Audigy 2 card works because I've tested that, but I don't know. Anyways, now quickly before I end this video, I'm going to talk about why this is going to be the final episode of the Recapathon. So I'm going to have to move to the floor to explain, and I'm going to take the camera with me.